This meeting started. This is the Commissioners Court on March 11th, 2025. Brewster County, please all rise for the invocation. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings, Lord. We ask for strength and wisdom as we go about the business of the county, citizens of Brewster County. Lord, we ask you for some rain to help this dry country that we have. Lord, we ask you for all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the state's flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. All right, good morning, everybody. Got a long agenda today. Let's see if we get this done in 15 minutes. All right, number 4, review, discuss action regarding the minutes of February the 25th.
Move to approve it, presented.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes of 25th, seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 5, public comments. Any public comments this morning? Any compliments to the county judge? Any complaints from Jim Westerman or Ruben or Sarah? All right. All right, number 6, the Alpine representative. He's going to be late, so we'll come back to that when he arrives. Number 7, recognitions and announcements. Anything from the court this morning?
The Chihuahua races are this
Okay.
weekend, Saturday.
All right. Well, we're racing. All right. Are you racing?
I don't fit in the box, unfortunately.
You don't have a Chihuahua?
I do not. All my dogs are gigantic. But you can rate, there's the Chihuahua races and then there's the Mestizo races. So if you have a small dog, you can race your small dog. It doesn't have to be a purebred Chihuahua.
That's going to be held in the ghost town.
Yes,
Okay,
Saturday.
good.
What is it start time? You would ask that, wouldn't you? Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Anything else on recognitions and announcements, Ruben? Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. All right, number 8, county judge report. Just a couple of things on mine. One, I'm real excited about the clinic that we approved the funding for a few weeks ago in Terlingua. Arrived on Sunday. It went to the wrong location, but we got it sorted out.
Did they use Google Maps?
They used Google Maps and went to the ghost town instead of to where it was supposed to be, but it's all good. We were down there yesterday. I think Ruben went down. They're putting the building together. All the utilities are coming in this week. Septic, by the way, that septic got done yesterday. Well, we finished today after the inspection. And it was really in need to be taken out. It was pretty bad. So the idea is that we will wrap up the installation this week. Hamilton Health will be in next week to install all the medical equipment. And we're shooting for a soft opening early April and maybe a big splashy grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony at the end of April, early May. So Terlingua will have a health clinic open 5 days a week, which will be great. The other thing, just want to report to the court is we got $2,972.90 as being part of the TAC Healthy County program. So based on the number of employees that use the WebMD program and other things that we participate in, our percentage is about 42%, and that got us a $3,000 check.
Yes. Pays to stay healthy.
So stay healthy. We can get up to $5,000 if we really get healthy. I don't know how far we want to go on that, but all right. Number 9, Brewster County project list. We don't have anything for that.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you do something? Okay, go ahead.
On that project list, we have that, the insulation guys are showing up to do the insulation on the fire department building.
Okay.
Gonna be like $15,000 and they should wrap up tomorrow.
I'll update the report that we still have sufficient funds in our project account for that. That's one of the things we've been delayed on getting done, so I'll update that. All right, let's skip to number 11 for a second. And this is discuss and take action regarding the preliminary plat application for ranches at Well Creek subdivision. This is a subdivision application from Lahitas. So you guys want to visit, come on up, visit with us about that? Sure. Give us a summary.
It was a 739 acre tract that just east of there.
Oh, so you,
I'm sorry. My name is Scott Beasley. I work with Lahitas Golf Resort, and thanks for letting us be here. Again, 739 acre tract that consisted of a kind of a small pie-shaped tract from the highway with just a small amount of frontage that went back and connected to a section a mile south of the highway. We looked at it on several different occasions and got what we could do with it, really studied it, worked with our engineers extensively, and came up with the plan to subdivide it into 69 smaller tracts, all of which are more than 5 acres. Our plan is to put a road in that will be contiguous to each of the lots, that will be to county specs, and if and when the county would like to take it over, that's fine. Until then, we'll maintain it. We're planning on, we've already submitted our application to Rio Grande Electric for power to go to every lot. There will not be water. We've studied that on numerous occasions, tried to figure out how we could get it from our water plant there, and it's cost effective. It's just we can't make it work. So it's just going to be like everybody else in Terlingua Ranch. So that's our plan. We hope that first lot that's contiguous to the highway, we're going to hold off on trying to sell that simply in hopes of maybe commercial down the road. So we don't have any plans for it right now, but that's our plan, and happy to answer any questions.
so Ruben and I went out and drove it a couple of weeks ago. Not the whole property, but
Sure.
a chunk of it.
Best that you can, yeah.
Self-explanatory. Tell me about power again. You're going to bring power under overhead, right?
Overhead,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
And you bring it to the lot.
We'll bring it, it'll be contiguous to the entrance of each
So
lot.
each lot could bring it off the main solid.
That's correct.
And then water, we've already talked about it. That plat would be stamped water. There's a legal clause that would say
Yes,
water is at the risk or of each landowner to, okay. Roads, we've already talked about the size of the roads and sort of the flow and the drainage and all that. Fire and EMS, we did talk a little bit about maybe some point as that grows, we maybe put some water storage tanks out there.
Sure.
Right.
For fire protection, just so that, that would be good, I think, for the citizens. You
Sure.
guys are amenable to.
Happy to do that, absolutely.
Anything else? Ruben, from you?
It's all pretty well straightforward. I mean, they've complied with everything we've asked and everything's that's submitted on the plat request, so I don't see a problem going forward with the project.
I don't either. Is there any public comments about this out there? Yes, sir.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
Price range in terms of we looking at selling for?
Help me with that. There,
5 acres, give or take, 50,000 plus.
Okay.
Right in that neighborhood.
Thank
With electricity getting harvested.
There's not that many 5 to 10 acre.
no, most of them are larger.
10 acres.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well then, after.
Can you drill a well on your
You
property?
certainly can, and we sent a
Not the 10
geologist out there, and he thinks that there are a couple spots, especially close to the road, where you'd have a very high chance of being successful.
Mhm.
The problem that we had, we thought about doing it ourselves for all of them, but it's the Santa Elena aquifer, which quite frankly, the water's no good. And by the time you put something in to clean it, you know, an EDR like we have in Lajitas or some sort of RO plant, you know, you're in the 10 million range and this didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But we did look at it and it's certainly an option if somebody wants to do their own and put a small system in. But that was our research.
But other than that, you just put a cistern in to hold the water for your house?
Right. That's the plan.
You reckon you'll do a water delivery?
We certainly can from our plant, you bet. And we're set up to be able to do that,
Option for folks if they want to do
you
that.
bet.
Does this affect access for people who live beyond the development?
No, ma'am. I mean, it'll stay a public road and we'll just enhance it and it'll actually hopefully be better for them, because that road will be better.
Be maintained more frequently?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
All right, Scott, what we'll do now is, now that we've had the preliminary hearing, we have to wait, I can't remember, it's 10 days. I think we have to wait 10 days or 14 days before we have a final approval.
Okay,
That will most likely be at the next commissioner's court.
okay.
Okay. Any questions that come up or from the public or whatever, we'll relay those to you between now and then.
Sounds good.
Other than that, we've met the standards for the preliminary, and we'll just sit on it until we get to the final.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, I'm going to go back to number 10, which is review and take possible action regarding the Brewster County's tax collection law firm. Just a little bit of a background. So we had a visit, Ruben and I had a visit with our existing tax collection law firm, which is Linebarger, about maybe at the end of the day, we've got to continue to be aggressive with our tax collections, because it's a revenue source that we're leaving on the table. And so we had a nice visit with them about some of the past issues that we've had. Jim suggested that we put it on the committee this morning, on the Commissioner's Court agenda this morning, just to talk about it. I don't think there's anything necessarily a decision one way or the other. I just wanted to, I think we've been a little bit, I'll speak for myself, a little bit unhappy with Linebarger's performance in terms of getting aggressive with the tax sales and the past dues. And the payments, for you guys are aware, a lot of times we have people structure payments when they can't pay. So all of those were past due. Just felt like we were really not managing, and that burden falls as much on us. The example I used to use is when I worked at the banking industry, I ran a book of loans, and every month I had to go and talk to the president about why my loans were past due, or which the loans were past due, what I was going to do to collect them. And I think the same thing applies to us as a county, as we're not here to take houses from widows and orphans, but the point of the matter is we have a lot of land in South County that has been purchased and then just abandoned in terms of its tax payment. And we really need to be aggressive about getting those. It helps us, it helps the school, it's a source of revenue for us. And so we needed our law firm to work together. We had a good meeting, and they indicated to us that they would work closer with us. My plan is to meet quarterly and go through those tax statements and start kind of figuring out where we are. There's a very straightforward process that ultimately ends up with Judge Kimball for him to sign, and then it goes to the tax sale. That process can take, from the day it goes past due on February 1st until we end up at the courthouse steps, can take as long as 12 to 15 months. Could be longer depending on the title. All of that has to be sorted out and dealt with. So, but my goal this year is to make sure we're tracking on that. So we don't have tax payments that are 4 and 5 years old.
Or 20.
Or 20. After 20, we have to run.
The biggest problem is down south, though.
Yeah.
They're up to date here.
Yeah, and most of it ties to the tracks down south. But, you know, we've got a land boom going on, so to the extent we can move that land off and let somebody else purchase it, get it back on the tax rolls. I mean, that's kind of our goal here, so. Sheriff, you said do you have anything you want to add?
I have a whole lot more experience with Purdue because we do quite a few tax sales every year for them. And they're the ones that kind of do the schools and around here, so that we get them on the rolls pretty quick. Most recently, we had one from Lineberger that was a 73 piece property. And as I was looking through it, we had already sold one of them in the school, their tax sale. And we called over there and they were basically getting their information off our tax rolls where there's no address. And we have a system, which I believe Purdue does. It's Acronet, and we look them up and there was people could be found. I don't know that they did their due diligence in that tax warrant that they were trying to do. And I understand there's two different, they do it in two different ways. One with a tax warrant where they can go in and try to get as many of those properties they can, but they still have to do their due diligence and trying to find them. The Purdue, which I have, like I said, I've had the most experience with, they actually have somebody local and they go to the properties and actually see if there's dwellings on them or if somebody's living there or something like that. So, but I believe some of those, and Lineberger this last time failed to notify Terlingua Ranch because Terlingua Ranch also has a lien on these properties. And that poses a problem at sale because you sell them and then Terlingua Ranch comes in looking for their money too, so there's those kind of problems. So I don't know that, I know Purdue has lots of experience with this area out here doing it. And Lineberger, I think after I talked to you and they called and they ended up trying to have these sales, but we should at least have 2 sales a year from our county here on to try to get that property, because that's the way it was when the law firm we had before them, we had them twice a year and moved that property pretty fast.
One of the issues that the court's aware of is that there are 7 taxing agencies in the county. 5 of them use one firm, which is Purdue, and 2 of us use a separate firm, which is Linebarger. It has caused some confusion because the taxpayer will pay the Linebarger bill, which means they paid the county and Terlingua school, but then they get a second bill from Purdue and they think they've already paid the taxes.
Or the school district.
Yeah, or vice versa, is the case may be. So that it does cause a little bit of confusion, but.
And the thing about it is, of course, it all falls down. It's a sheriff's sale. And, I'm standing there out there.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping these law firms have done their due diligence because they don't get mad when you sell a piece of property at the law firm. They get mad at me, because both law firms will read off the statement, about how the deed will work. And, but we've had people come back in and say, well, you sold my property the other day and I live there and here's my receipt that I paid it, and stuff like that. It causes a lot of groundwork. And that's, I think, Lineberger's problem. They don't have someone here doing the groundwork where they can go out and we volunteer. We'll take them out and say, well, here's that tract, here's these tracts, see if anybody's on there, just to make them to do it. I mean, we've helped locally with school districts calling us, checking on properties if they're occupied or if they're vacant and stuff like that. So, and we usually send a notice, and the old first law firm when I first started, bring them all to me in just stacks, and I would sign them, and each individual got. Well, the way they're doing it now is that the law firm will do it, and then I sign just the original tax sale, and then they publish it for 3 weeks and put their name on it, so they'll quit calling me, asking me when the sales are, because that it's a big mess sometimes because you're dealing with people's property. But I think Lineberger can, if they want to stay on, they need to get a system to where they can look up, because some of these properties that they were selling us last time, I could find the owners or a relative and, just let them know, do you want it or not? Because we're fixing to sell it.
Well, if Linebarger's, I mean, if Purdue's already covering 5 of the 7 tax entities, what's the harm in putting it all under one law firm?
That's up to y'all.
I mean, is there a downside?
No, not really.
I mean, would it be more efficient?
Yes.
I think I've got another speaker. Sarah.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Martinez, the district clerk. And I am here to ask you to please switch to Purdue. And my main concern has to do with our citizens. And it kind of goes with what Judge Hennington was saying. Purdue represents all the other taxing entities except Brewster County. So Brewster County is under Linebarger. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it happens to where I get a civil suit from one, and then a little while later, I get another one on the other ones. So it creates 2 civil suits against the one person. And it's apparent they're already having trouble paying their taxes or they wouldn't be in this situation. So now they owe 2 court costs. And it's very confusing for them. And it's frustrating. And I feel bad for them, honestly, because here they are, they get this notice, I'm behind on taxes, I'm in jeopardy of losing my home or land or whatever it is. And so they get on a payment plan or they're talking to the tax attorney and they think, okay, I've got all this settled, I'm good to go, I'm great. And then they get a tap on the shoulder and it's like, oh, but by the way, now you owe this other one. And it's like, they start freaking out and I can't blame them, So if we went with Purdue, because they are with all the other taxing entities, it would just do away with all that. It would make it simple. It would be easy. You're just talking to one tax attorney. They get confused. When they call and they say, well, so-and-so told me this, that, and the other. Okay, well, who? Did you talk to Purdue? Did you talk to Linebarger? And they don't know because they don't really understand all of that to begin with. And that's understandable. So that's really my main concern, is to help the citizens. It would really help and kind of calm all of that down. The other thing is just, I'm sorry, but I don't have faith in Linebarger. There's been some things that have happened and we need to have faith in them knowing, okay, you are our tax attorney. We hired you to do this. And when it gets to the tax sale, when the sheriff is out there on the steps fixing to sell, he should have faith and know, okay, they did every due diligence, everything in order and the right way. And I mean, we are talking about selling somebody's home, somebody's property and dealing with money. That's like 2 of the biggest things you could deal with. And they've already done 2 huge mistakes that just shows to me, I can't trust them. I'm sorry, I just cannot. That the one tax sale that they finally had here, people that bid on property, their money went missing. And then the people that bought property had to wait on the sheriff's deed because sheriff's not gonna issue their deed until we get paid. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Whose name is on that? Mine, Sheriff, Sylvia Vega, our names. I have never had a problem with Purdue. I've worked with them since 2011. I worked in Presidio County with them. They're professional. I have never seen or heard any wrongdoings from them, ever. I haven't. And then the next thing that they do, they file that tax warrant 2 months ago on the properties that the sheriff's talking about, 73 properties, 73. The order gets to my judge, Judge Kimball. He should have faith in knowing when this order is before me and I'm going to sign it, that tells me they already did all their work. This is ready to go. Let's do it. So he signs it. Well, guess what? They didn't. There's documents missing. You can compare a tax warrant. You can go to my office, go to a tax warrant case that Purdue has filed, and look at the one that they just did and compare them and see the difference. Purdue, it's application for tax warrant, and then all this paperwork that you need to file showing what the sheriff was talking about, that it's abandoned, nobody's living there. You're not gonna go sell some property that somebody's actually living there or somebody actually owns. I mean, they are not giving us the customer service that we deserve at all. And I really do wish that Purdue and Linebarger were here so that they could talk to you and answer questions and tell you too. But unfortunately, they're not here. They weren't invited to be here. So that's pretty much where I stand. It's said, all taxing attorneys are all the same. They all do the same work. They all do the same job. Well, that's not really true because Purdue can offer other services that Linebarger and even other taxing entities can't. There's a lot of services they can do, a lot of other things they can provide. I wish they were here that they could tell you what it is. But that's where I stand. So please take it into consideration.
Once she's talking about missing money, secretary left, she wasn't even here, she was gone. And we got through about noon, and so I left the lady from Linebarger in there, and I said, you can use the counter, collect your money wherever you want. I took off, and when it came missing, they blamed us that they gave it to us, then they said they gave it to her, but in essence, none of us ever got any of the money. We don't take the money. So anyway, it ended up, it set it back about 6 or 8 weeks. Until we
Longer.
I
think longer.
Or because when I got the tight deeds, I wouldn't sign them until we got paid. So they just sat there and waited.
Yes, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Tom Jacobs. I am a 20-year owner and investor in property in Terlingua Ranch. And I'm an ex-lawyer, so I don't want you to hold that against me. Can you ever be an ex-lawyer? And also, I'm probably going to tell you a lot of stuff you already know. When I was a high school teacher, my students would say, Mr. Jacobs, we get it. So I apologize if I beat a horse until it's past dead. But I do think this is important. And my purpose here is to speak from the point of view of the most important person in your process. And that is the potential buyer of the land. It's all well and good to follow the legal process, which Linebarger did not. That notice of seizure in December in the paper was facially deficient in multiple ways, as I'm sure the judge is aware. No contact information was given for these 73 properties. Who did this? I didn't know who did this. Was this even going to satisfy the first of 3-week notices for the sales? I could tell that. And Warren Buffett advises us to stay within our circle of competence. Mine is extremely limited. And even I know you have to provide sufficient notice to people. And that was, it was egregious. Back in the day, this would be, I think we're being way too nice to Linebarger here. Let's say we have teenagers. How many chances do we give them? Well, let's give them another year and so on. I'm the guy whose cashier's check was lost. I bid on a property, got it. And now that I think Sheriff Dodson might let me write a personal check next time, like the other people, but he didn't know me from Adam. Lived in Presidio County for 20 years and part-time resident in Terlingua Ranch for 20 as well. when we got here, we decided we had to buy something in Terlingua Ranch quickly because Marfa was getting way too crowded for us. So we had to get away on the weekends. So I am one of the people who will buy. It's already been said, you buy something, you don't want to have to go to 3 more offices and figure out whom you're paying. Lori Wilmarth, who is with Purdue, I did my first transaction with Big Bend Title 20 years ago with her. No one knows more about titles than she does. And I don't think she'll lose my check. Now, what happens when you lose a cashier's check? Guess what? You can't go and get another one. Other people could just write a personal check and whatever. Now, the federal law is 90 days. Okay, a bank cannot reissue a cashier's check for 90 days. I'm a business person. That's capital sitting there and I don't have my deed. Okay, I can't sell property for favorable tax treatment unless I hold it for a year, right? And then it goes from ordinary income to investment tax. So I'm sitting there and the clock is ticking and the clock is ticking and it's not on the market. And I wouldn't do it then because of taxes, but I'm just saying. So what's at stake for you? 2 years ago, before I realized you could get all this data from the appraisal district, and because I have certain mental conditions that lead me to do things like this, I reviewed individually 6,627 of the 9,500 tracts in Terlingua Ranch. And I've done a lot more since then. My estimate of what your taxes are due at this point for just Terlingua Ranch is 1.5 million. And I base that on the fact that when I did this research in 2022 initially, using the fair market values and the most recent tax year, it was about 500,000 or 600,000 of those 6,000 X tracts. Well, what's happened? As you all know, in the ranch, tax appraisals went up 3, 4, 5, and 6 times in 2023, and then another 20% in 2024. They went from, let's just be real, they went from seriously undervalued. $8,000 for a 20-acre tract in Big Bend Valley in North Carolina is ridiculous. But now it's well over fair market value. And Judge Hennington is absolutely correct that there has been a land boom, but prices have softened dramatically in the last 18 months because there has been a flood of property from an estate and things aren't selling. If you look at Realtor.com, as I do, again, I have nothing better to do. I have 3 businesses. The drop in prices is dramatic. We're seeing, for improved property in the ranch, as much as 50% over 2 years. Okay? And these, say what you want about real estate agents. They want to make a sale. They're not going to just price it at something that's, not going to come close. All right. There's one more problem. So let's say I'm a buyer and I go to the tax sale. First of all, your buyers are not going to just be people who want to buy them for, they want to live there. That's a limited amount. How many are they going to buy? They're going to buy 1 or 2, maybe together, maybe near something they already own. I'm someone, and I know several in South County, pent up consumer demand. We'd like to buy a number of them. And we have some funds, but with that quadrupling and 5 timesing of appraisals, now your taxes are that much more. That has to be the minimum bid, is taxes owing, right? So I'm an investor and I say, all right, taxes owing are X. Now they're 5 times, now annually is 5 times that. All right. You wait a year, give them another chance. How many years is it going to take to clear the 950 tracts in Terlingua Ranch that I found with no known address. And yes, you can easily find them. Even I did that. I'm tracking down a lot of heirs because it makes business sense for me to do that. And so let's say 50 get done, 75, another 6 months. We're talking like 9 or 10 years to go through the backlog. What happens? Taxes accrue every year. All right, let's take a 20-acre tract, Big Bend Valley. I don't want to get too esoteric here. $20,000, let's say. All right. I happen to know several that I've been looking at. The taxes due are $3,500. The Property Owners Association, Association of Terlingua Ranch, Poetry or Poetry, depending on your choice, $5,000 in fees due. All right, so now you got $8,000 that you're on the hook for if you bid. Maybe you bid on $3,000 on the for the taxes, but then you got the liens on the property and the amount owing survive, so you're on the hook for that. $8,000. This is something you can put on the market for $20,000. The real estate agents down there routinely charge 10%. So let's say I'm going to put it on the market in a year. So now I listed at 20, let's say I'm lucky enough to get it. That's another 2,000. So now we're up to, my costs are 10,000. Then I've got a gain of 8 after expenses, and now we're getting into trouble. 8,000 at 15%, that's 1,200. Now you're up to 11,200. Well, let's say it takes a while. Every year, $600 of taxes on that 20,000 accruing. You're all business people or no business people. You want to buy these for 25% to 33% of fair market value to give yourself enough room so you don't run into trouble. Because then you've always got to be looking at your capital, which is limited, and say, where else could it be put for better return? So the clock is ticking on the county's ability to collect these because the buyers will be reduced. And then what happens if it doesn't sell? I don't know. It doesn't go to this website in Texas where you can just go and bid on property. Well, you're going to get pennies. So I think I've overstayed my welcome. I want to buy property in Terlingua Ranch, and it's really, really hard to do. And I would just say, as parents, how often, I'm not a parent, I have dogs. How long are we, going to give this firm a chance to lose more checks, to do pro forma seizure notices that don't work, so that they can maybe make the commission, who's too smart for this, to think that they're like doing something. I would do that with my dad, right? He would get upset about something, I'd go do it, make it look like I was busy, and then hope he forgot about it. That's not you. Thank you. Any questions or comments? I think I've covered it. Purdue.
All right, well, the whole reason for this was just to have a discussion. I intentionally didn't invite the firms because I do believe at the end of the day, the law is the law. It's all the same, but it is customer service. And how that customer service is delivered. The rest of it is fungible in terms of, the process is the same no matter what law firm's handling it. It's a matter of us being aggressive about asking those questions. And I think we've got a responsibility to sit down quarterly or periodically and say, where are we on all this property? We can't just expect a third party to do it for us. So that's kind of where I am. And it wasn't really necessary a decision necessarily to be made here. If they're wanting to have one, that's fine. But what are y'all's thoughts?
We got a lot of good information. A lot to work with.
Well, I spoke my deal to, I think that everybody needed to have a chance to,
That's kind of one of the reasons we did it, is 'cause
Yeah.
everybody wanted to visit about this.
No action to take right now.
Not necessarily, unless somebody wants to propose one.
When is our contract up?
I don't, I think it's indefinite in the sense that we just renew it every, I don't think it's coming up anytime soon. I have to go back and look at it, Sarah. I think it's written so that it's really up to either party to terminate.
Would that be the first step to notify Linebarger that we're terminating the contract, or?
we also need to talk to Toledo School, make sure they're on board.
Yeah, school, I need to talk to Helena School, see if they're, because we don't really need to have one agency out there doing the opposite. We ought to all, if we're gonna do this, we ought to all be the same.
Right.
There is, the Linebarger does have the opportunity to have 6 months to wrap up what they've already started. So they get to, if they've been working on it, they get to keep it. Kind of like sales commissions on real estate agents. If they've already worked on it, they get the rights for a period of time. So we'll have to sort that out. Would you like me to just explore it a little bit and see where we are?
That might be fair to both parties.
Okay.
Yeah. Let Purdue know that we see what they're doing with the other 5 entities. And let you find out what they intend to do, what Linebarger wants to do with the other 2 of the 7.
Okay. All right, well then I'll pull the contract and have some information for the court at the next meeting. How about that? I think the purpose here was just to air it out and let everybody.
We aired it out.
We did.
We aired it out.
We aired it out. Sylvia, did you have anything?
No. I mean, I just collect taxes, I go by whatever y'all said. So Purdue might not be my choice, but if that's what you choose, then I'll go with it. It's the people that come first.
Have I paid my taxes? Okay, all right. Then at this point, we're not gonna take any formal action, and I'll go back on the 25th with a discussion about the contract and what would it be. Yeah?
Okay.
All right. All right, number 12, which is discuss and take possible action to fund $12,071 for Brewster County share of the cost of the second assistant in the 394th District Court. Judge Kimball has asked the 5 counties in his district to consider supporting the cost of a second assistant to work with Laurie in his court. He spoke to all the county judges about this, and the consensus was that we were all amenable to bringing it to our courts. There's on section A, you can click on it and it'll show you the breakout by county. It's based on a formula that we're not quite sure where that formula came from. Something we're going to work on for the 26 budget, but we'll leave the formula alone. I think it's probably based on cases, but I don't know. We don't know how that caseload gets determined, but at the end of the day, our share of this would be $12,071.
If I could point something out, when I ran that calculation, that was on the assumption that she would start on March the 1st.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a little bit more than that, if she starts with an additional 3 weeks in March. Because that number is starting on March the 1st.
When did she start, Judge?
She started yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay.
She's not, I put her to work. I talked to everybody, more or less had everybody said yes. It was clearly I needed extra help, that Lori was being overworked and was really,
She drowned.
by a considerable, so. I reached out to all of the judges. I talked to all of the judges and, this is an opportunity to hire a lady that was making quite a bit more than this. She was working for the 83rd District Attorney's Office. And they lost a grant and she lost $20,000 or $30,000 in salary. And so I was able to bring her on at a bargain. So that's, that's my pitch. And, she's working for me right now. We put her to work Monday.
Well, Melinda, you did this as of March 1st.
I apologize, I misspoke. I did it starting April the first,
Okay,
because at the time I did the calculation, we had the discussion that it was gonna take a while to get the interlocal agreement signed, and she would start on
okay.
April first, that last 6 months of the year.
All right, so we got a couple extra weeks.
So just a rough estimate, and sorry, it's on a phone calculator, I can get you a better one later. Six.
Are we allowed to make a motion for a number that's different than what's published in the agenda?
Cause I'm coming up with it would be an additional roughly like $1,500-ish, something like that.
I think it's, I would have sort of errors and omissions. I don't think it's, I think we can make an amendment to get it done. Here's the deal. Us, Jeff Davis, I think Presidio, or maybe Culberson, I can't keep track of the counties, are approving it today. There's a couple of counties that won't approve theirs until the end of the month, which is fine. There'd be sufficient money. And then we're working on an interlocal agreement.
And the reason we did what we did is she had to give a certain amount of notice to come over. And so our timetable, and I talked to all the judges at one point in time, said, is there anything in particular I need to do with my timetable? I was told no.
I'm in favor of getting her paid for her work. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just telling you that,
Yeah.
this is kind of the process we went through.
Yeah, no, I think it's all good. I think we just need to figure out, we're gonna be the fiscal agent on this. So we'll collect the money and then pay because that's where we're headed for 26. The way the district court's budget is handled right now is really convoluted.
It really is. I mean,
But
a
that's
lot of times we're paying for stuff off our personal credit cards. I didn't realize that. But we're paying for stuff and then we're sending it to 5 counties. And I don't know where all this formula came, but it's certainly not an efficient way to do business.
And our plan is.
Now, the state pays me.
Yeah.
But the 5 counties pay my help.
Yeah, Laurie gets like 5 checks. One from each county, which is.
Yeah. So I like the fiscal agent part because, we'd have one county that we could go to and then y'all would have the paperwork to get the other 4. And so,
That would simplify not just on the payroll, but also
everything,
general expenses.
everything.
I mean, it just, Lori has this like spreadsheet thing that she takes everything, splits it out 5 different ways and bills everybody, and it's very convoluted. However, something Julie just pointed out is that this does not say anything about us being a fiscal agent.
No, I don't think that's what we were here for today. I think that's in the works. I'd hope it's in the works.
Yeah, we're okay on that because I gotta pull the agreement together and we still don't have all the counties in to.
So it's gonna be in the month.
So it'll be the end of the month. This is just for us to go ahead and get our share of the funding approved. I think we can make an amendment to this. So if it's 1,500, so 12,071 plus 1,500 is 13,500.
Could we?
Let's call it 14.
I was gonna say, could we approve the 37%?
We could do that.
Make it
Yeah,
whatever 37% is.
yeah, we could do a percentage. A second.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Judge.
I guess that was a
Is that
motion. I guess it was, yeah.
All right, so the motion on the table is we'll carry the 37%. Second by Commissioner Ortega. Any discussions? Does this make sense, Jim?
Yeah. There's one.
All right, all in favor,
Clear
say
as
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And with that, I'll go back to work.
Okay.
All right, number 13, discuss and take action regarding the annual dump day projects for Terlingwood and Marathon. We did get an $8,000 grant for, from the COG, which I was gonna apply. It's, the grant is almost sometimes not worth the money because of the convoluted nature of how it has to be processed, but what I want to do with the court is set some dates when y'all want to do dump day this year.
As early as possible.
I was going to do the $8,000 grant for Marathon this year and then put a dumpster down in Terlingwood. I don't want to do what we did last year where we put a big dumpster down there and we ended up with mattresses and tires and.
Oh, you mean the tourism dumpster? You don't want to do that one.
I don't wanna do that one. Cause that ended up not doing anything for what we expected to do. We ended up with zero regular household trash and we ended up with
90% mattresses. and-
tires that we then
Yeah.
had to pay extra for because they don't take tires.
Yes.
So what I like, but I think we do need a dump day for electronics and or materials.
If you say we could put a dumpster down south, are you meaning that would be we would not be doing the assisted dump day anymore where, we come out there and help unload the little old lady's
No, I
pickup
think-
truck? full of
I mean,
chicken
our
coop?
goal is to take care of our citizens in
Yeah.
Sterling, right? So my feeling is we'd go to the yard, we put a dumpster down there and let people bring stuff to it on a certain day, like we've always done. Same thing with Marathon. I'm just not in favor of, taking the tourist trash.
Yeah. Well, also considering that the COG wants to procure the services on our behalf, that would be a lot easier given that process.
The way they wanna do that dumpster roll-off deal,
Yeah,
the only one that makes money is the trash people.
yes.
Because, I mean, $8,000 with those roll-offs doesn't go very far.
No, it's like
Talking
2
about
weeks.
big roll-off.
Yeah.
Before it's all said and done, but
Especially.
that's
for
how they
Lincoln.
wanna do it. And,
That's why I was gonna isolate the grant this year to Marathon,
Mhm.
because by the time you pay for the transportation of those
Oh,
dumpsters
yeah.
from Terlingua,
It's
So
twice the
take
price.
that and then we'll take our money, we'll take the grant money and do a Marathon, and we'll take our money and do a dump day.
the grant money won't do much.
It won't even cover that.
No, sir.
That's okay. I thought at least it would cover that. But- okay. So we'll need to supplement that too.
Yes, sir. And in reality, that 8,000 will only be, probably $3,500 of it to the good of if we were hauling it, okay?
Right.
I mean, just
Yeah.
cause they charge so much and it takes so much money.
Mhm.
I mean, I think they get $600 just for the canister itself.
Okay, well then.
I mean, we can do it that way, but I'm just saying that.
I mean, if we need it-
I would just expect that there's gonna be.
More than $8,000.
Yes, sir. Last year it was like $25,000 total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For both areas.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, it's gonna be,
We get more bang for our buck if we do it in-house.
yes, but the COG doesn't want to do it that way.
Would they cover just the tipping fees, so then they could coordinate with the landfill?
But we'll try.
Yeah, we can try that. It's $8,000. We every bit of that will be typically.
Yeah, and then whatever's left over comes to us.
Well, I mean, it was last year was $25,000 worth of tipping.
I believe you. I
Yeah,
believe
we
you
had a lot of
100%.
stuff piled up too last year, didn't we? Those-
Well,
And we don't have that this year, we did last year.
in reality, that roll off from
Tourism.
the tourism helps a bunch. It'd be 30 if we had for that.
Well, and I don't mind the idea of having a dumpster for able-bodied people to get rid of their stuff, but there's always gonna be the elderly couple that comes in and needs the road and bridge crew to help them unload stuff. So,
Well, you want to set some dates?
I would love
You
to set
give
some
us
dates.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is there any possibility, and there may not be, on that dump day, to be able to deal with things like old cans of paint and stuff that can't go in to regular dumpsters?
All that stuff has to be dry. We can't deal with it either. We're in the same boat as the general public. We can't take
So
wet
you
paint.
don't, there's no way to
No,
take that.
we don't have a place to, so.
I would say take the lid off now and let it dry.
Yeah.
I'll-
And then get kitty litter.
Yeah, get some cat litter.
A lot of cat litter,
I'm sorry?
a lot of cat litter.
Great, okay, we'll do that.
She's got plenty of bentonite, right?
Actually, I've got more limestone.
All right, so we're setting a date probably in April sometime, for Terlingua and then Marathon. Same kind of time frame, different weekends.
I think if it's a different weekend, I think we could utilize our help more.
Yeah, if it's staggered,
Instead of
makes sense to me.
pounding two guys.
How do you make this calendar? Oh, there it is.
Isn't that Easter weekend?
Passover's the 12th.
Good
Palms-
Friday's the 18th.
Yeah, Good Friday's the 18th.
We like to do it, we want to do them on Saturdays, is that what you're?
Saturdays, yeah.
Give me those dates and we'll work on those.
Looks like either the 5th or the 26th. Cause it's all holidays in between there, Passover, Good Friday, Easter, etc.
You want to do Terlingua on the 5th and then Marathon on the 26th?
Works for me.
Will that work for you, Ruben?
Yes, sir.
A little cooler in Marathon and. Okay. All right, we'll take the grant and figure out what we're gonna do with that and we'll have.
Well, then you can work on that, see what,
Yeah, we'll work, I'll get in the weeds and figure out what we're gonna do on this, the dumpsters.
Okay. Terlingua, April 5th and Marathon, April 26th.
And we'll do it at the yard in Terlingua.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I needed there.
Love it.
All right, discuss and take action regarding autopsies and cremation contracts between Brewster County and Alpine Memorial Funeral Home. Somebody here? Yes. All right, so one of the things we want to talk about is the cost, the ever escalating costs of cremation, transportation. So this is how it works. A person dies in Brewster County. If there's an autopsy ordered by the JP, the autopsy is a smooth $3,400. And that's in Lubbock. Okay. So that body then has to be transported from here to Lubbock. That's another, call it $700. Then the autopsy is performed. So now we're at $4,100. And then the body has to be dealt with after the autopsy and it's cremated.
Is it cremated at the autopsy location?
Well, it's cremated
Yeah.
no, it's cremated in Lubbock,
Lubbock,
not at the same place that the autopsy's done, but there's no cost to move it.
moving it, yeah.
So, and our price for a cremation, I believe is, it's 1,500 now, I think is right, 1,500. Gone up, so it went up last year, so $1,500, so now we're in it for, what is that, $5,600.
so is Lubbock under in their 1,500 with a contract with this, home here?
What, we're paying the funeral home here and they're working it out.
That's what I'm saying, so they're on there.
Right. So, and then the remains, what's left of, the cremated remains, obviously, there's no, but they come back here.
And there's a cost on that.
Yes, not, I generally, there's not been a charge for the return of the cremated remains that I'm aware of. They'd come back. Whenever there's a trip to Lubbock, they pick up the remains and bring them back. So
Yeah.
that's not been an expensive process. Now, the remains belong to us. Now, until somebody claims it. And we have a number of remains that no one's ever claimed.
Yeah, I've heard that's a problem.
And that's another issue for another day, but one of the things we've talked about doing is burying a vault at the cemetery and putting the remains in that vault. And then if they ever get claimed, we'll be able to pull them out and give them to folks. So with an autopsy, it gets pretty expensive. Now, if you don't have an autopsy, now we're down to our pauper policy, and our pauper policy says you really need to be a citizen of the county, and you need to have no other means to pay for it. And so we really lean on the family members first. If there's a family member that can take care of their loved one, and so that the general
Assuming they
answer
love
is no. Okay, I had one the other day where there's a mom and a brother both living.
And it's like, but what happens is they call thinking there's a deal. Well, the deal is when we cremate it. We don't give that deal. And that's for us in case we have a pauper burial. So they have to work that out with the funeral home. And sometimes they can and sometimes they can't. Because I don't know what cremation is for just a straight, what's it? Probably a couple $1,000 for a cremation, so. But we really try to turn those away unless there's truly no other means to pay for it. So, I don't really have any action today. I just want everybody to realize these, we've had, Judge, where's Wasserman still here?
No,
This year already, calendar year, we've had 13 autopsies. So our budget, I mean, we set $75,000 this year for this.
And the autopsy is required by law.
So the autopsy is generally when there's an unattended death. So when the JP determines that they haven't been under the care of a physician or a hospice or something like that, there is a little bit of a judgment call, but usually if it's unattended, then autopsy is ordered. Now, we had one the other day that I did. There was a person, he'd probably been dead 3 weeks, and he was down on Bullis Gap near the river. Best we can tell, he found an old camping trailer, ran out of water, probably froze to death, and died in the camper trailer. Needless to say, he was badly decomposed, and we didn't order an autopsy on that. We felt like that the consensus amongst all of us, that was exposure. There's no evidence of foul play. So some of that is subjective, but a lot of it's not.
That's
It was actually not, it was on the Bullis Gap Road, but it wasn't.
Wasn't in Bullis Gap, yeah.
No, it was right on
One of those.
Terrell County line.
I know. 2 more yards had been in Terrell County, had been their cremation.
Yeah.
So it's not just unknown people that this necessarily is covering. It's indigent people. I mean, you find somebody who died in the desert, there's no identification. He wasn't a resident here, but we still have to go through that.
Yeah, he's our body, and now the Mexican consulate is involved in this one, and my guess is they won't, but they may offer to help pay for the cremation, but we'll pay for the cremation of this fellow. Now, if we don't, then he goes in, right now he's in cold storage in Fort Stockton, and there's a limit on how long they'll keep him without charging us. So we don't want to just have him in cold storage for the next 2 months, because that's going to cost us money. So we'll cremate him and give the remains back to Mexico if that's what they want. So I bring this up only, I don't have an answer on how to slow this down, but it's getting expensive.
Understood.
The autopsies are really going up in price. I don't remember them always being that expensive, but now sometimes we can get lucky and a body can go to San Marcos where it's used in a research facility, and that's no cost to us.
Mhm.
They use it in training police officers and JPs on how to determine death, cause of death. So sometimes we get lucky, but we can't send all of them there. Thoughts? I'm pretty much on track with the dollars. Okay, I just wanted the court to be aware of it. Okay. All right, number 15, Casey, you're on.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Casey Meritori, your Rio Grande GIS coordinator, Rio Grande Council of Governments GIS coordinator. I'm here for just a couple of roads today and then some program updates. The first being Elk Loop. And I realized while sitting over here, I didn't send y'all the map of my roads. So I have them right here, okay? I'm sorry I only have the 2. That was My bad this morning. I didn't have enough coffee, I guess. The first that we're going to talk about is Elk Loop. This is a lot like Bighorn that I brought just a few weeks back. This is part of the Barber Trail tracks that are out there. This will provide the access necessary for all those tracks, and we are seeing real estate move out that way. So, and this is a result of that. As we need an address for a location, we need the road for that. So, don't say that. But yeah, this one, yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm looking at the location on north of North County Road. It's not part of the Figueroa properties?
No, this is not part of him. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and you'll see too, Bighorn connects to this as well at the south end of it.
Yep.
That's when I brought just a few weeks back.
There's one person back there, according to your yellow dots.
I only have one so far, but it's actually Jonathan Laverne has been pushing a lot of these, and so I hear from him a lot. He's moving a lot of real estate down south. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll do better next time.
Elk Loop on the Desco Drive, was it Desco Drive?
Yeah.
Yes, so Desco is a separate item. That is actually to the east of town. That's going to be just on the other side of the RAS, that lot to the east of it. The gentleman that's purchased this, he's actually going to be putting in 5 rental units out there. And so this, I don't
Or something, right?
know if it's RV or if it's small units. I'm not entirely sure what he'll end up doing.
Looks like,
Yeah. Is that what it looks like? I haven't been out there yet, so.
I just drive by my propane tank.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's just on the other side of you. Yep. But yeah, he's allegedly going to be putting in 5 altogether. So there will be 5 addressing points that are placed off of Desco.
Well, I'll make the motion to approve Elk Loop private road added to the MSAG database.
A second.
Motion is second to approve Elk Loop. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, you want to make a motion?
And I'll make a motion to approve Desco Drive and, to be a private road too.
Second.
Motion and a second on Desco Drive proposal. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, what you got? Program update.
Real small update today. I really don't have anything new to discuss, but sitting through court today, Eagle View, the Eagle View platform that we are able to provide to anybody with a government hat on could definitely help with the foreclosures everybody's been talking about this morning. One remarkable thing about the Eagle View platform, that is oblique imagery. That's an angled imagery of the entire region. And it was shot this past year at the end of this last year. So we have updated imagery of the entire region. Another feature of the platform, you can split the screen and view a location as it appears today, and then go as far back as 2007 if you want to on the other side. So you can really get that comparison of what it looks like today versus what it looked like in the past. So for those conversations about, is it improved, is it not? This is the preliminary research that I would do before I drove all the way out there and checked it out for myself. So I definitely am going to keep pushing the Eagle View platform on anybody that wants that access. This is our addressing, it's our voting precincts, hospital districts, anything authoritative that I house in my office, it's going to be in that mapping system. And I know James has already been using it. Junie at the post office has been using it quite a bit, and it's actually helped him make his routes more efficient for what he delivers down south. Because now he knows the order of the houses, right?
I used to the other day. It's pretty
Cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You can even build your own maps in it.
But those property lines, are they pulled from the CAD?
Yes, they are. So that is the only data you will see in the map that I am not the authority of. That's actually a data set I pick up from the Texas GIO once a year.
Mhm.
It's typically around the summertime that we pick that up. So you will see some minor discrepancies if something's changed on that property throughout the year, right? So that's the only little caveat, but it's pretty small. You know, you can definitely hop onto the CAD website and verify what you're seeing.
Yeah, but the problem is that those maps are not accurate everywhere.
Oh, no. Those boundary lines are not perfect by any means. They are not surveyed boundary lines. They are an approximation. And I certainly state that in my letters because I include an image in my map whenever I give you your addressing letter. And I stated on there, this is not a legal surveyed boundary, right?
Yeah, my point is that when we're talking about potential foreclosures, you might be looking at a property that looks like it has a house on it.
Yes.
Somebody might go to the tax sale thinking they're buying a property with a house on it and then find out, no, actually, you
That wouldn't. Yep. You definitely need to do your homework, to some degree, you can take the CAD data and run with it, right? In a lot of cases, I'm able to kind of verify that based on the poetry maps, things like that, and understand, is this boundary off or not? It takes your extra homework, right?
Definitely.
But it's definitely a starting point, it could certainly help gain that initial understanding of a location.
It'll get you in the right area.
It will. It'll get you in the neighborhood. Yep.
All right, and you and I and Ruben need to get together on
Yes.
the county road map.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Well-
we'll get with you to set up a time.
That sounds good. I'm ready to go on that. I have everything printed. It's a packet about that thick. So y'all get ready. Bring your lunch. All right. That's about it. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. All right, number 16, review, discuss, and take possible action on the Brewster County Dark Sky Week proclamation. Anything from you guys?
You know.
Well, hello, I'm Chris Ruggia. I'm Director of Tourism for the City of Alpine, and I serve on the committee for the Greater Big Bend International Dark Sky Reserve. Laura Gold here has done a lot of work over the last couple of years on proclamations for International Dark Sky Week in the sense of both the City of Alpine and Brewster County acknowledging our own acknowledging that week for our own purposes. As the public hopefully will know, and I'm sure you all do, the Greater Big Bend International Dark Sky Reserve is the largest contiguous area protected night sky on the planet. So we're justifiably proud of that. And so this proclamation is a way to help spread the word about not only how cool that is, but also what part of what that means is encouraging all of our property owners, managers, anyone with authority over a bulb to as to what quality lighting means, not only for the night sky, but also for our day-to-day lives and those of our neighbors. So that's the basic idea. Laura had sent the draft resolution, which I sent to the judge, and he's then distributed to you all. That's about all I would have to say, unless you guys have any questions.
Any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
I love all the infographics that I can share with people to show them demonstrably, like what color light you want, what the shielding should look like, et cetera. But it's only ever in English. So I need more instructional material in Spanish.
Do that.
Thank you.
I think Dark Sky International has material in Spanish that I can get you.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I need an email address.
About a year ago, when this was kicking off again, the AEP was somehow a partner in helping people either get or install proper light. Is that still in effect too?
I'm not sure where that program actually stands. The Big Bend Conservation Alliance was managing that agreement that they had with AEP and doing the swap outs, and there was an application process. And I honestly don't know where that stands right now because the last person that was managing BBC is gone now. So I'm sure that it's still available. There are several properties in Brewster County that I would really love to encourage to take part in that program, especially the churches and the certain other entities that would benefit from it. So yeah,
But
It's still
yeah,
available.
in terms of those kind of resources, Stephen Hummel at McDonald Observatory would be your primary and best, I think, point of contact, because he's the one working that across the region.
yeah, definitely.
And so he can point out, like the observatory, I believe, has a fund to help with, or perhaps has the fixtures themselves. He can help people find appropriate replacement fixtures or point them to the shortest least expensive path to a good light and things like that.
Is the name Hummel?
Hummel, Hummel. Yeah.
Right.
We're putting dark sky lighting on the new clinic.
Yes,
that we just
wonderful.
put in, So,
You did a nice job on your front yard here too, with those replacements.
oh yeah, those have been really nice.
Yeah, and for anybody who might see the video or listening from the public now, the main takeaway in terms of lights that I would stress is that if you have a light on your property that you want to illuminate your property for the purposes of safety or just visibility, that a low luminance shielded light is going to perform that function for you way better, so that we have a natural misconception that more light is gonna, if you want light, you want more. That's better, right? So it must be safer if it's brighter and it's pointing right out there. But in fact, we see that for security purposes, a shielded light, if the bulb's not in your eye, you actually see what it's illuminating. Whereas if the bulb is in your eye, you see the bulb and you lose all the detail of the scene that you're trying to light. And so,
Well said.
yeah, I don't want to, belabor any points, but
Well, I guess I'm interested in figuring out how we're gonna monetize this. And the reason I say that is I think we have a great, people come out here,
I was
right?
gonna say
sure.
tourism.
And so how do we make that tourism dollar sing in your city and in our county to keep encouraging people to come out, stay in hotel rooms and look at our night sky?
well, I don't mean
We
to.
both have
Yeah.
ordinances on January 1st, 26. We both have ordinances that go into place. But the hammer is not the answer.
Mhm.
No.
Hammering people
No.
is the answer, but persuading and making convincing arguments like
Free
you have,
lights.
I really think both sides, city and county, should push harder on dark sky as a tourism.
Absolutely. It figures very prominently in every ad
I
we
see other
run. Yeah,
counties claiming that they're a dark sky county. Well, we got them beat.
for
First
sure.
of all, we're the biggest, and second of all, we're the darkest. And we really need to not let Denton County get ahead of us on dark sky.
Yeah,
They
no
can do
question.
it, but you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's opportunity there where with the Airbnbs and the tourism and the lodging, to increase their presence or their awareness of astrotourism as part of their package. What they can offer to their visitors. So, there a lot of people have been coming out here for generations because they know they have a dark sky. We have a dark sky and they can always get out here and camp and see the dark sky. That's a study that we've done many times. And so we have all these new people coming and they're seeing the Milky Way for the first time, depending on the time of the year that they're here, or seeing stars out there for the first time, and it just floors them. So, yes, I agree, Judge, let's monitor.
Park Service gave me a briefing the other day that they have these evening sessions, and back in December, they'll do a little astronomy thing, star party. They had 450 people show up to this thing at the park, which is way more than they've ever seen. There's just a huge.
Danny's having one Saturday
Is that right?
at the.
At the Marathon Motel.
Yeah, well, and that's one that we absolutely send people to because he's our overflow for the observatory. Because, you need to reserve for the observatory star parties way early, and Marathon Motel gives a great experience with really knowledgeable interpretation. And
They've got some big
yeah.
speaker coming into.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so we need a motion on this proclamation.
I move to approve the proclamation declaring April 21st to April 28th, 2025 as International Dark Sky Week in Brewster County.
Second. 2 seconds. All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All right, so moved.
Thank
I
you
want
all.
to point out, it's nice that the city and the county have actually gotten together on an ordinance that actually has teeth. That it's a odd thing to talk about it, but unless people actually know that there's a stick behind the ordinance that it's so that the law enforcement people know that it can be cited after January 1st.
Yes, so more education.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right, number 17, Elections Department, review and discuss, take action on the election agreement.
Morning, Judge and Commissioners.
I'm here to get the approval of the election agreement for the city. And it's actually limited election services. They will be holding their own election. I will just be overseeing it to help with, questions, problems, whatever. The agreement is the same I've always brought to the court every year, with the exception of number 8. And I ask that they include that on all contracts going forward. And it is the city of Alpine will bear the actual cost of repair or replacement of the equipment leased from Brewster County in the event that said equipment is damaged during use. That way we're covered. We don't have to, the county doesn't have to go out and pay for repairs or buy new equipment if it gets, taking care of damage.
We've never had it damaged, have we?
We have not.
Okay.
Melissa is real good about when equipment comes back in, checking it, making sure, everything works properly. But there is that, one time we don't have it in here, then we, have a problem getting it taken care of.
Right.
And that's all I have.
And
unless y'all have
what do we bill them for?
I don't have the invoice with me, but we bill them for, the main cost is the express vote. They usually use one because it can be programmed for election day and early voting. And that's around $338, I believe it is, for the entire election. And then it's minimal for renting of the cardboard voting booths, the metal sign. And then we publish the notice of testing. That's usually around $180 to $200, and they will reimburse the county for that. And then there is a $75 administrative fee that we can charge them.
Okay, all right. And then free permits from the city for next year. Oh.
Wishful thinking.
No comment.
Just thought I'd throw that out, maybe add that to the agreement. Okay, all right. I entertain a motion to approve this agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agreement between City of Alpine and Brewster County for elections. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, got it.
Thank
Get
you.
it to me and I'll sign it, please.
Second, and I'll sign it.
All right. Mr. Stevens, I'm gonna circle back to you.
Thanks for that flexibility. We're doing a demo of a new zipper for the streets in Alpine, so I was out there watching that.
Yeah, I want to hear about that. So what do you think?
My first reaction is it's not wide enough. We need to go from a 4-foot to an 8-foot, so we can increase capacity. We'll talk about that at city council. The machine we're looking at costs about $500,000. And in my view, if you look and say, if you can increase capacity by maybe doubling or tripling that cost, but you can do a lot more streets in the city, that's a wise investment. So that'll be a discussion we'll have at council.
I see those things advertised.
We used the city,
Little 2-foot zipper right now, or 3-foot, yeah.
15 years ago in Marathon, to do some of those streets for the colonial. It works awesome because it mills it, you work it, you lay it right back down.
Yep.
And then you're ready to pave on top of it.
Yeah, so my hope is we can be able to do probably 40 blocks a year easily with a wider zipper. That'll really increase our capacity. And to your point, you can go down, we're over on Murphy Street right now, going down 6 to 8 inches. It goes all the way down. Excuse me, digs it all up. Then you can go blade it, water it, blade it, compact it, and then you're ready to put some seal coat on it or to put some fog seal on it, which will help a lot. So it was pretty effective.
I'm interested in buying the other one.
You want the, yeah, so a 3-footer, I'll talk to
county.
Yeah.
Who works on them?
Are you gonna say that or? Give them a decent deal for the big one and use it.
Yeah, we can figure out how to work it. In my view, that'd be the ideal thing to do because it's got lots of capacity and we're zipping. Then we can blade and everything else, but we got to figure something out there.
I mean, so it takes the surface off, right?
Yes, sir.
Including down as far as you want into the base. That's our biggest challenge on the streets. You got to have good base. And so it goes all the way down to the base and then it mills it all up.
Upgrade what you're trying to do.
That's exactly it.
And then that material gets hauled off?
No, it stays.
Right back. And
Right back. That's a big advantage.
you don't have to haul anything off. You
Yes.
put it right back down, you compact it, you water it, you now have a good solid sub base and a base to build a road on top of.
So you just blade it off to the side, water it, and then lay it back in and.
You're ready to go.
So for us, it would be helpful in Marathon, Double Diamond.
Anywhere there's a street or even if there's not a street, just what the dirt road that's there, you can just mill it and it mills it all up and then you just.
Could you use it on Ghost Town Road, like to turn
Oh, yeah.
into the Ghost Town? Could you?
Oh,
do that?
yeah. You can use it, you can use it anywhere.
You can use it anywhere, yeah, it's
No,
it's
it's a deal changer.
it really is. Well, there's, in my view, there's three ways to do roads. One is what was done, of course, on 118, a hot mix. That's the most expensive. Next is chip seal. And I call this chip seal light. It really is mill it up, put it down, then you can decide what you want to put on. You could go as simple as a fog seal, which will seal it down. Or you can go put chip seal on, or you can put hot mix on, but it gives you all the flexibility of redoing your base. So,
Well, would you guys entertain the idea of we don't, what's not on the agenda? so-
yeah, no,
Would you entertain the idea of us talking to you about,
by all means, yeah.
I don't know, buying into it, sharing it or?
So let's figure out where we are from a city standpoint in terms of what it looks like, but I will include that in the discussion with council because I think it's exactly the right thing to go do.
I mean, it's really up to Ruben. He
Yeah,
thought we could use it.
It's a deal changer.
it is.
It is. I mean,
I mean, why would we go all have our own?
Well, it's kind of my view, yeah.
If
Yeah.
we could-
We figure it out.
Of course, we gotta figure out maintenance and,
Yep.
That's my
Yep.
question.
well, whoever tears it up's gotta pay for it.
Yeah, and you figure this out.
well, you just have to put some maintenance on it all together at all times.
Yeah.
To keep it up.
Keep it up and running. The zipper we've got right now has been around, you probably know better than I do, probably what, 20 years, 30 years?
I used it 15 years ago
Okay.
or 16 or 17 years ago. We did some streets in Marathon on the Colonial Grant.
Okay.
And we used it in it. I mean, we got done what we needed to get done with it and it was slow, but I mean, it really eats up the pavement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like nothing.
So with proper maintenance, it's still running.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
we're still
they're
running.
using it.
Yeah.
We're using it. We use it all the time. Problem is, it's just too doggone narrow.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of capacity out. So you have to make, the road we're working on right now, Murphy, 27 feet wide, you gotta do 6 passes with this particular zipper. The other one, we'd have to do 12 passes. And then,
Somebody sits on the machine, it's not a pull behind
No,
or
you,
you drive it like.
yeah.
well, this particular one, you hook it on the front of a front loader and you just push it on down. And it's got remote control drive in terms of depth.
On the buck.
Yeah, sits on the bucket, yeah. Yeah, channel on the bucket.
Cool.
I'll
All right.
keep you posted on it. Anyway, that's why I'm late.
Let's have a discussion.
Just following up a little bit on elections, what Laura was talking about. I think you're probably aware the city went forward to get an approval at the state level. It's SB 914 to change our elections in November. Cesar Blanco is the one pushing that through. So far, it's worked its way through the Senate. We'll hopefully be successful. If it does pass by 2/3 in the current legislative session, then it would take effect later this year. We're still going to have our May election to do wards 1 and 3, but going forward, then we do November elections, get online with everyone else. And we think it's the right thing to go do. We had some things we're working on, our sign ordinance, alcohol beverage ordinance, and our zoning ordinance. Those are the big things we're working on right now from council to get some consistency, particularly with some of the zoning maps that are outdated. I think you're probably aware our zoning map last updated 2013. And there's a lot of work that we have to do to go work on that. But we'll keep you posted on that. We did hire a new utilities director, David Luce. He'll start on the 1st of April. And some of you may know David. He is originally from Alpine, worked for TechStop, moved away and coming on back. So we're looking forward to get him on back on board as well. The Ivy property, I can talk about it publicly. We did put an offer in, it was declined. So we're looking forward to see what Bill is going to do with that property. We're told he has another offer. We're waiting to see. And in the meantime, I know there's some actions that are required because of safety and health concerns, and we're managing that as well. And it's probably the biggest question I get asked. You all probably get that question as well. What's going on with downtown that property? City tried. We gave Megan the authority to go work it, but it was declined. The last item I had is at city council meeting, this last meeting, we had a rather robust discussion about whether to extend the Legion's hours up till 2 a.m. Part of the dialogue back and forth was there's residential area just on the other side of the street. Our noise ordinance says the max you can have after 10 o'clock is 55 dB. We have decibel meters to go read that. They originally asked for the full week. We compromised and settled in at only Friday and Saturday night open till 2 a.m. So their permit goes forward, and then we're going to have to manage noise around there. Frankly, I think some of us have concern that other bars are going to want to open until 2 a.m. as well. And noise is the big concern we have within the city. So we have noise meters and we're going to be tracking people in terms of what's going on.
What y'all's, where y'all at on like on hauling like the carcasses and stuff like at that taxidermy place?
Oh, in terms of what's going on out there, so he has moved out. Mr. Parsons and his wife April moved, Howard and April moved. The property's sitting empty. I know there is someone who's interested in potentially purchasing it, but that has not gone through yet. We'll see what happens. Right now, the building sits empty and nothing's going on there. There are two issues with the property. One was concern about whether or not there's a grease trap there. I've always contended, since that was originally a restaurant many years ago, there's a grease trap there. It's out in the back. We could never get past that point, and then we got the trash collection issue work, but he elected to pack up and move. But I know there is someone who's in the taxidermy business who's interested in using that facility. We'll see what comes out of it. And he is not local. Okay.
Was there a discussion at city council about I think the Holland Hotel was asking for a permit too, or they were going to?
Thank you very much. So that will come up for the city council meeting next Tuesday. They've asked to be able to go to 2 a.m. as well. They had it before. Colin in his notes said they've got the financing taken care of, so they will start moving forward and they want to get their permit in place. So when they're ready to roll, they're ready to roll.
So there's hope still that it may actually reopen.
Oh, I don't think there's any question, at least from Colin's standpoint, they will reopen. And they said, yep, they're excited about getting that thing up and running. They had a permit before that allowed to go to 2 a.m. Noise is not an issue there because they're surrounded by commercial. So I expect city council will say yay early.
This is for both the Century Bar and the grill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need another restaurant.
It'd be nice to get that open back up again.
Yeah.
What did they say when they will start breaking ground on?
That I don't know. And I haven't talked to Colin and asked him for dates. He was waiting for I think he probably said 60 to 90 days before he got everything settled out. So I think we've still got a few months to go. Anything else?
Anything else from Mr. Stevens?
Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
For the report. All right, Road and Bridge.
The guy's been working, the aerator down there at the post park in the water, had some problems with some wiring. And they got it working again. They moved the equipment at the Lingua yard to start the pad, which they've already done. They sent that pup trailer to El Paso for repairs on the brake system. They finished the pad. They start hauling some of those millings from TXDOT to Lingua yard so that we can start working on Fulcher Road sometime soon.
Awesome.
They're going to go get some material, I think today, maybe start today from Cassie to put on Allen Road. It's a nightmare there. So and to mix in with that midnight and stabilize it some so that maybe it'll last.
That's when we'll get the rain.
Once it's fixed.
Yeah, once it's fixed, that's when the rain will come.
Okay, well, maybe they'll finish it today, huh? No, they won't. They were gonna start hauling it today.
Good.
If he got a hold of the guy from Cassie.
Mhm.
So if not, probably tomorrow or soon.
Awesome.
Okay,
Awesome.
And then, let me see, they continued cleaning up at Marathon at the baseball park, removed dead elm trees and from all those winds, we had a bunch of, trees break, branches break. We need to look at that, maybe that company that did the trees here to go in there and clean up those trees like that we need in bad shape.
I'm sorry, this is postmark?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I can call, what's his name, and get a quote, because
You can get a quote. We did it like 12, 13 years ago in-house, but it wasn't very safe.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got. And y'all need anything?
I just wanted to say that I noticed a couple of signs are missing on Chillinger Ranch Road, so I think the wind took them and wanted to put that on your radar and keep an eye out anywhere else.
Okay.
Because the wind probably took other signs as well.
You can find them in Marfa.
Probably, yeah, in Murphy.
Sanderson.
yeah, Bullshore is all still bubbling up, so we're Bullshore.
Where the truck's going down there empty and they're hauling that material so that I don't know how far I'm gonna get with that material, but I'm gonna go as far as I can. We made a creek out of that road from prior blade operators as me and you took drive. So, we're gonna try to build it up as much as you can and then put some base on. But for right now, I think we can, those millions, we can put it down, put some oil and, roll it, compact it. I think it'll be way, way, way better than what you got.
Yeah.
There won't be dust either.
That's what I was just gonna say. I'll definitely keep the dust down.
Yes. So.
Start building it up.
Every time I get going in that, getting the guys pointed in that direction, we get sent something else. I mean, and that's
It's a big
just
thing.
part of the beast here, and then just. Every time that everybody's more urgent at the time.
How many do we, not including Johnny, how many do we have on staff? 5?
Got 2 more new guys, so, one with, I've got 3. Let's see. I have 3 CDL drivers now.
That's right.
Yes. So,
But you have a total of 5 plus
3. 6 guys.
Okay. Plus Johnny or not including
No, let's see, I've got Tomas, Gilbert, Jose, Gomez, oh,
There's another one. I don't remember his name.
what's, the 2 guys from that came from Alpine. Well, that'd be 6, yeah,
7 for Johnny.
7 with John,
All right.
yeah,
Good.
no, we're getting there.
That was a lot of work, man.
We hope to, then, we're gonna start shooting. Well, I wanna get that, put some emphasis on those roads down there and then we're gonna start trying to seal coat a bunch, see what we can get done.
Or it gets too hot.
Well, yeah, they're just gonna have to do it.
Yeah,
If we don't get it done, we're gonna lose those roads down
that's
there.
absolutely right.
We're down to hardly nothing on it.
All right, anything else?
Just, I have a question for Mr. Stephen. In y'all's yard, you got a spreader box that there's a tree growing through. In y'all's yard here, there's a spreader box,
Yeah, we use that.
the one that has a tree growing in through it. that has a root. Okay.
Well, you want to buy it?
Yes, yeah, I could use it. Okay.
Because which sort of box we use, I just didn't know we had another one buried.
There's an old one, yes, sir.
Lord knows what we got buried over there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I look forward to working with you on that other stuff.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, we'll skip 19, go to 20, treasurer's office.
I don't have any reports for you all today.
Do we have money in the bank?
Money in the bank.
No, I'm asking, do we have money?
Yes,
We're not overdrawn anymore.
there are some restrictions though that we've identifying and separating, but we'll continue to work on that.
Well, I have asked Melinda to do a sort of a informal study of what our surplus really is. Okay, you know, and she's gotten that narrowed down, and I mean, it's all good, there's nothing bad, but when we come in here and we say we need to take this out of budget, our surplus, I just want to know we're not down to our last nickel, and
Yeah.
we're not, but still, I don't know, just the business side of me says you ought to know what your cash reserves are. And I call them cash reserves, they use different terminology, they get all geeky over there with terminology, but at the end of the
Just
day,
call it cash balance.
cash is king, you don't buy anything without cash, so. The good news is we're in pretty good shape, and I think Melinda and I'll probably have something for you in a few months to look at to a little more detail. It's not a perfect science because you've
No,
got,
there's a lot of
things
moving
moving.
things.
but it does give us an idea of what we got, so. All
One more question for you on that, on the audit.
right. Oh, yeah, so the 21, I'll say this to the court because we found out the other day. On Friday, we got, last week, we got a ton of emails from our accounting firm that we have terminated, asking questions that all of us felt had already been asked and answered. So after the top of my head blew off and flew over, I picked up the phone and called the managing partner, and we will have the 21 audit, or his words, in our hands Friday. This Friday, done, which means 22 goes right into play. 22 will be rolling out. They're gonna come back in April for a couple of last minute stuff. 22 will be out, let's say the end of April. 23 will be rolling into 23. I hope that we'll have 23 by mid-summer, and now we're set.
And we're caught up.
It's taken us 2.5 years, but we got it. 24 will be a little late, but not terrible. Maybe 24 is done by winter. And then we'll be good because 25 won't be due till this time next year. And we'll be able to qualify for our borrowings for our visitor centers and our CBG grants that we've got pending and all the other things that are stacked up. So a lot of work, a lot of gnashing of the teeth, a lot of meetings, but we said enough's enough. We will
spend a bunch of money trying.
Yeah, I know. And we're gonna end up with a qualified opinion. And I said, it's 21, it's 4 years old. There's no one cares. Okay? You can write 100-page memo of what was wrong in 21. We'll fix it in 25. So it became, even my two CPAs, Melinda and Patty, their heads blew off too. So we just said enough's enough. Anyway, I'll believe it when I see it, but I think we'll have it Friday. This guy's he's been true to his word. He was a little irritated too, so. All right,
Thank you.
yeah, comptroller's report.
Okay, first thing to go over is going to be the bill paid. I'll try to go through this fairly rapidly. If you look at the one that was paid on March the 4th, total out of the general fund was $51,030.83. 45,429.99 out of other funds for a grand total of $96,460.82. If you look at the courthouse on page 1 of that summary sheet, a large chunk of that $21,000 under the courthouse was replacing the sewer line that collapsed. The next one that I have is March the 10th. It's actually from yesterday. We've got $17,061.20 that we paid out of the general fund. Another $9,573.36 out of other funds for a total of $26,634.56. Big one to note there, the contracting agencies, that $11,250 is the catch-up payments for the Big Bend Citizens Alliance, since we got their contract in. and then they'll go with the other monthly payments to the contracting agencies. For today, there are a couple of things in here that we are going to have, a budget amendment, related to. We've got a total of 73,469.68 out of the general fund. 48,857.57 out of other funds. And that's mostly out of hotel motel, for a number of advertising and promotion campaigns. And Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are predominantly related to combating the Chisos closure.
Right.
Melinda, let's do, before you go to the budget amendment, let me do the bills. Can we do that?
Okay, and just one thing to note, under the non-departmental, the 51,219.75 is almost entirely for workers' comp.
I'm going to approve bills for 3/4/25, 3/10/25, 3/12/25, and all abstain from Pinnacle.
I'll second the motion.
All right, discussion. Ruben, I don't know if you noticed it, but on True Value, there was about $5,500 charged to True Value. That's for that.
It's
You're good with that.
yes, sir. It's
It's that
the bag of the.
And he's given us a good price as we could have gotten anywhere else.
It's $1.
Cheaper.
Higher. No, it's $1 cheaper.
Yeah,
You're
and we're not having to pay the freight.
We're not having to pay freight.
Okay, I didn't know if you saw that or not.
One other thing, just to point out on that True Value bill, one of the reasons that got paid yesterday was that it pays at the 10th, we got a $633.31 discount
About paying early?
by paying yesterday. Patty picked that up and.
Oh, so they give you terms.
They did on this one.
Oh, cool. Okay. Melinda, based on the new policy, we're going to we're gonna really kind of get rid of this to be paid and paid thing, right? We're just gonna have all items that have been paid, right? So we're gonna have every Wednesday by 5 o'clock, you've got a set of bills. You're gonna pay them on that following Tuesday, but there's not a commissioners meeting every Tuesday, so you'll say, so there'll just be,
Yeah.
there'll be one report. This is all we've paid in the last 2 weeks, right?
Well, sort of, because of the way the accounts payable packets work in that data, we really need to separate them into the multiple little reports for what gets paid, that just because of the way you have to report.
That's really more for y'all though, right?
True, yeah.
I mean, for us, is all we, or at this point, all we care about is what bills have you paid,
What have we paid, and then these are the ones that are getting paid today.
which we don't,
You don't have to, this is not necessarily for approval.
okay, you're just giving us.
This is just information on what are we spending your money on? Or how are y'all spending your money? So,
Our motion is second to approve the bills as presented. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, go ahead.
okay. Budget amendments. We've got one, actually, there's 3 of them on the page. It's for the grant reimbursements, and Julie, I'm gonna let you kind of explain those amendments if you can.
I have 3 budget amendments related to 3 grants that were awarded this year. The first one is the FY25 body camera program grant. We were awarded $26,028.61 with a cash match that'll come from the sheriff's office account in general fund of $8,000. But this budget amendment is establishing the award amount and the expense amount so that we could at next time pay the second year invoice of our 5-year body camera deal. Contract. Yeah, we're on the second year of our contract.
So that's what the first budget amendment will do. The second one is for, the local border security grant program. This year we're awarded $40,000 and this grant, well, the award amount is
Oh, I'm sorry.
40,000.
You're right, yes.
The grant pays for, fuel for South County and Marathon. When I did the budget, I mistakenly budgeted negative 40,000 for some reason in the revenue. So, I have a budget amendment of 80,000 in the revenue line item to fix the negative and put the correct amount. And then, 40,000 in the expense line for fuel and oil. So that's my second budget amendment. My third budget amendment is for the rifle resistant body armor grant program. We were awarded 18,000 this year. I did the same mistake during the budget, and I budgeted a negative 18,000 in the revenue line item. So my budget amendment is for 36,000 to fix the negative amount and put the correct amount in revenue. The correct amount is already budgeted in the expense line. Yes.
Okay, so that is one of the budget amendment sets. The other one, let's look at, this one that's fairly lengthy.
I don't think we have anything.
Y'all didn't get these?
We're kind of in the dark up here on those.
I really apologize. I thought y'all had been emailed these.
Those
I'm so
came in
sorry.
this morning.
Do we want to move on to something else? If I can go make some copies for y'all and then we can come back to the budget amendment?
Yeah, because I just made a note that we'd like to have these in writing in front of us.
Well, yeah, and I apologize.
Jenny, would you-
I thought they had been emailed to you.
Why don't you get Jenny to make, Jenny, would you make copies of those? We'll go
Yeah,
along
and we
the
just
line.
need the front cover sheets. Thank you. We'll come back to those.
You doing line items now? Oh,
I'm
is
sorry.
line items part of that?
It's all
Wrapped in?
wrapped up in that.
All right, what else you got?
Just, I guess, kind of informationally, the judge and I talked about this and Julie, that it's probably a good idea to go through at the 6-month mark and do a review of the annual budget. So we do have that scheduled for the week of, I think it's April 14th or 15th, to get together and just take a really good hard look at the budget for the remainder of the year. And the idea is, first of all, just to see how we're doing with it. And then second, if we need to make any adjustments, that we can make budget adjustments then and not have to keep coming back and making small budget adjustments through the remainder of the year. And I think the other thing is that it kind of sets us up for doing the budget for next year to see what are some of the items that we may need to look at a little more closely for the next year. So that's on the agenda. As far as the software conversion, it is rolling along, keeping us busy. I think everybody has been doing a pretty good job on getting their training and spending some time and really taking it seriously, which I kudos to everyone for doing that, because that makes a big difference when we go to the conversion if they have.
And you think we'll convert when?
The schedule for the conversion, it's kind of a staggered conversion. We will be doing the financial which is the general ledger, bank reconciliations, and purchasing the last week of April. And then we will be doing the configuration for personnel the last 2 weeks of May, with a run of parallel on that the end of June. So that would get pretty much the big ones implemented, and then the cashiering, which is where we receipt monies in, would be going live the end of July, first week of August. So we've still got a ways to go, but we're making progress.
What's the story on Trans-Pecos and their bank statements? Is that fixed now or?
Sort of. So did you ever get an answer on her this morning? On what? On those, on the other bank state? We did.
They're
we-
working on it.
Julie got some bank statements this morning that had images associated with them.
So,
February.
are y'all's balancing out with what y'all are paying?
As far as doing bank reconciliations, we've kind of had a little bit of trouble on some of the larger accounts because we haven't had access to the images. And if you've got checks clearing with no check numbers, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
Mine are getting paid, but they're not getting deducted out of my balance and my,
Oh, and Trans-Pecos?
yes.
I have not
Don't have
seen,
trouble with them?
I have not seen that.
I would say, so I've been talking to the bank president, I just haven't called him directly, and talking to his director of operations, so it's Mike Kazoo and his director of operations, Trotman. They got it worked, Monday in terms of all the things you can automatically download. And they'll have all check images not later this Friday, some of them already start showing up.
And that correlates with what we have been told today.
I just called them directly.
Yeah,
It's been a nightmare.
I've got their phone numbers in my hand.
They paid my stuff, but they paid it.
So you're not lately, Julie's been saying.
But they haven't deducted out of it. Yeah, it shows I got like lots of money.
You want to share some of it?
Yeah.
Imagine.
You know that it's gonna come out.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
We'll get it.
let's go back to budget amendments. We got it now.
Okay, so the first one, look at the grant, that's the one that Julie just discussed with y'all.
There it is.
The second one, that I would like to go over with y'all is, it starts off at the top with longevity pay, it's to the county attorney.
Okay.
And the expenses in the county attorney's office are essentially, they're paid out of three different funds. You have the county attorney, the pretrial diversion, and the SB 22. And this budget amendment is, without getting into, as the judge will tell me, into all the weeds, just a little bit. The first one is really reallocating some expenses that the attorney had asked for in order to allow them to do some training and just essentially some line item and budget adjustments between the regular fund and the PPD fund. The second piece of it is related to moving one of the employees who had been, we thought was going to be able to be paid out of the SB 22 funds. But because of the requirements of that grant, they're not going to be able to, so we're moving them to be paid out of trial diversion, which will actually free up a substantial amount of money out of those SB 22 funds. They've received $100,000. And as Marisol mentioned, when she was here at the last meeting, she's looking at potentially hiring an investigator. So the idea is that, okay, we take that person, move them back to the SB 22, and then she can potentially use some of those SB 22 funds to look at hiring an investigator. So that's on the county attorney's office. And then the last one, these are the ones that are going to be coming out of budgeted fund surplus, or prior year surplus. The first one, when the budget was put together, there was $90,000 for the annual audit that was put in the budget for the current fiscal year. What we're ending up with, because of the way the audits are running, is that we will need to pay for 22 and 23 this fiscal year. So we've got another $90,000. This is for the 23 financial statements that we need to make a budget amendment for that. And then the next two are related to workers' comp insurance. If you look at what's being paid on today's list, there's approximately $49,000 being paid toward workers' comp. That includes approximately $20,000 that is being paid for calendar year 94 premium adjustment.
24.
24, calendar year 24.
So 94.
I'm sorry. Guys, I am so tired. It's try 24, running a few decades behind. But approximately $20,000 that is related to when the salaries are estimated for calculating the workers' comp premium for the year kind of in advance. They come back and do an audit of what is your actual payroll. I think the big piece of that is the additional law enforcement personnel who are in a high-risk category and more expensive, that are paid for under grants. But the workers' comp premiums related to that are not paid for by the grants. So that was an adjustment for calendar year 2024. And then for 2025, the amount that was budgeted, kind of based on the prior year, we need to adjust up to what the current premium is. So the total on that is a $17,000 adjustment for 24, 9,000 for 25. And depending on how we come out on payroll in comparison to what we've actually given them so far, that may need to be adjusted later in the year, but we'll take a look at that further down the line.
Okay.
And that's it.
I make a motion, we approve the budget amendments as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Budget amendments approved. I have to give you a line out. Anything else?
I
Okay.
think that's it.
All right, let's do Brewster County Tourism. Mr. Alvarez.
Good morning, everybody. It's travel season, show season. Thank you all for letting me and the staff be out and about. I'll go fairly quickly. Since the last time I was here, I attended the Texas Historical Commission and Texas Heritage Trail Program statewide meeting in Austin. The main reason for attending that is I'm the chair of the Texas Mountain Trail, so we get updates. But honestly, I get to talk to the THC's, THC's legislative liaison. And he's saying there's about 75 days left now after that trip left in the session. No red flags yet for tourism. Everything's going through nice and easy. And in addition to that, the Heritage Trails, which is Texas Mountain Trail that affects us here, Wendy Little, the director, it's looking like every trail throughout the state, but including ours, will get somewhere between 60 and 70,000 extra this year in funding. They've never had, since the last 4 sessions, they haven't had any cost of living increases whatsoever as far as the allocation that the state gives those programs. So that's a really nice thing. They finally came together and through the pushing of lots of folks like myself, all of the chairs of all the trails says, you guys got to go ask for more money because there's no increase in inflation. They have to print a lot of their own stuff, et cetera. And it's looking pretty good. So that'll be nice if they actually get that allocation. There's no indication that it will be denied right now. It's actually already passed several viewings, but we'll see what happens. So that would be a really nice thing because Wendy helps us out as a region. You know, when we were talking earlier about the dark skies, et cetera, her having more funding would really help in that respect. So that was a good thing from that particular meeting. At that same time, to make more use of my travels, since I was already in Austin, I made TV rounds in Austin and 2 stations also in San Antonio during those couple of weeks, and appeared on their morning shows, Good Morning Austin, Welcome San Antonio, that kind of stuff, regarding the closure. Or at that time, because the Friday, I'd already booked all this, the Friday before I was doing these was when they changed the closure. So it was actually good. I kept the dates. I was going to cancel them because I wanted to do these appearances closer to the actual closure, so it'll stay in people's minds, but they're already booked. It was a change, so I got to go on there. We had 5-minute segments on each of the stations talking about the park in general, and then letting them know, guess what, you have 2 more months to come enjoy, etc., before the bases close, blah blah, to counter that change in date. What I'm concerned with now is that we have been marketing that they will close May 1st. With the change in the time, that now gives us 2 more months that folks can get in, or roughly 6 weeks is what I've heard from the National Park Service. Everything should be open in the basin, I believe, until June 12th. I don't have my full notes on that meeting together, but anyway, there's about 6 more weeks that people can enjoy the basin area. So we're getting that word out now and kind of countering what we said before that it was end in May. So maybe we'll have some more income and have some more folks getting to enjoy that area before it actually closes. So we're on top of these things. After those, we flew, myself and Aaron, Garza in my office, to the Phoenix Travel Adventure Show. Fantastic show. We've never done it before. We do several shows in this series, but never the Phoenix show. I would say it was exceptional. The response there was great. We're going to add it to our annual show list. And I got the opportunity to give a 30-minute presentation on the destination travel stage there to the attendees regarding Big Bend. You know, it was a Big Bend, day or night, it's an adventure. We talked about the night skies, what you can do during the day. And then, of course, the last couple of minutes, I didn't mention, because there are a lot of journalists who attend these things too as well, that the closure will be happening, but it's not going to affect the rest of the park. The whole thing, that we're open for business, that tag that we're doing. So that was really nice to have that 30-minute time to actually speak to people instead of just putting ads or TV commercials, et cetera. It worked well. After that, we hit Ticket Stock in Plano, which is in conjunction with the big sports station that's up there. The Lajitas Golf Resort does a lot of advertising with them because they do that charter out of DFW. So it was really nice to do that show there. We have never been with a booth, a full presence. It was amazing because Lajitas runs commercials on that radio station, and we do as well. They knew us. It wasn't like, where's Big Bend at? It's like, yeah, we had close to 600 people a day. It was just a 2-day short afternoon, like 12 to 5 show. 600 people a day coming through the booth. Aaron and I were pretty hoarse after that, but it was wonderful. They were like, all right, we hear about the golf. What else do y'all have? You know, so it was really nice to do that show. Another one that I think we're going to keep in the annual list. That was our first time to do it, and went very, very well. After that, actually just today, the staff returned from the Texas Independence Jam concert that we sponsor up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Another great show. They said it went very, very well. Headliner was Darius Rucker, if any of you are country music fans. So there was a lot of folks there. It was full. But that was really nice to do that. The Dallas Travel Adventure Show, another one in that series, is coming up next weekend. So we'll be there, and I'll again get that opportunity to give a 30-minute presentation on the destination travel stage. Same thing that I'll do, and I'll have the firm dates from the National Park Service of when, you know, they're estimating that facilities will still be available in the Chiso space. And one other thing that came up, the Blues on the Green concert series. If you remember that, many of you know that we've done it for many, 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 many years. We didn't last year because they were very disorganized, if that's a nice way to put it, to be honest with you. They canceled it, brought it back, cancel it, brought it back. And we discussed judges like that. Let's just stop it for a year. And I appreciate your input on that because we did. They came back this year with a price much lower. I don't know if they're getting lower costing bands or what, but it's in the $20,000 range instead of the $40,000 range, almost half price. And it does give us 2 full days with a crowd of 10,000 in Austin to have a booth, and we get the backdrop of the stage again. So I'm probably going to move that one forward again because they realize we don't like the back and forth. We want it to be in stone. What's going to happen? We can't operate that way. And I think all of their sponsors came back to them with that kind of response. So they said, okay, let's get our ducks in a row. They have it all planned now instead of doing it the last minute that has happened the last few years. And I think COVID is what really interrupted that because it was very professional, boom, 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 and then it kind of fell away a little bit. But I think it's back, and it's in our budget there. That's much easier to do a $20,000 sponsorship than a $40,000 sponsorship. That's just a lot. So I'll assess that. I'm going to have a meeting with them later this week, and I'll come back with that contract next time if we decide to do that. Our board meeting that was supposed to be taking place in February was canceled. There were not enough. Wasn't going to be a quorum except for online, and we really were trying, or via Skype, whatever. We were trying to get folks to attend this one in person. So we have some that are virtual and some that are in person. So Bill Ivy decided to reschedule it. It has been rescheduled for May 7th, if any of you want that on your list. Location is TBD still. We're hoping to have it at Lajitas with a nice little luncheon beforehand, and then the meeting at 1. If Lajitas can't accommodate us, then we'll do it maybe the Red Patillo if it's available, or we'll figure it out. But it'll be in South County, so we're really hoping for on that one. At that particular board meeting, we'll address the bylaw changes that you've given me, and we'll also begin 2026 budget talks. And per talks with the comptroller and all that, we're going to try and restructure our chart of accounts so that we don't have a line for TV, a line for radio, a line for print. What's the point? It's all marketing, and then we have to come and do line item adjustments when things cost more or less, because everything we do with marketing and advertising purchase is on a fluctuating scale. It's kind of like oil. Sometimes it's, 5,000 ad, then the next year it'll be 7 instead, because all costs are fluctuating in the tourism industry. So that'll make it a lot easier, not only for us as we put the budget into play in the actual fiscal year, but also for our marketing committee. They'll be able to operate a lot more efficiently, I think, because we don't have to sit there and go line by line. They'll say, should we put $500,000 into advertising? Yeah, let's do that. And then we can just discuss where. As it is now, we go like, should we spend 10,000 or 30,000 on Texas Monthly line by line? And it is very tedious and it's unnecessary. It's very unnecessary. I'm also going to ask that they change that name of that longstanding committee, because it's no longer the marketing committee anymore, as we've discussed through many departments here in the county. Is just because you've done something the same way for a long time, don't mean it's right. Maybe we should start changing. So I'm going to ask at this meeting that we remove the marketing committee and change it to the budget committee, because it's really setting our entire budget, not just what we do for marketing. So that committee is by far the most important. So I think they need a more important title. It is a true budget committee, not just marketing. Marketing will be in it, but I think they need a name change. And we talked about that several years, but we've just never done it. But I'm going to put it on the agenda to formalize it. It'll become the budget committee instead of the marketing committee. And that's about it in the office so far.
All right, you've got 4 contracts. What, just out of curiosity, what is Vector Media Holding Corp?
Vector Media, this is going to be really interesting. We're very ahead of the curve on this, but also behind. This was decided last year in August. It is Vector Media wraps your buses, cars, vans, taxis, whatever. In this case, it will be the DART, the Dallas Area Rapid Transit trains that go throughout the Dallas Metro. We got the proposal in the summer of last year. The marketing committee said, this would be great, awesome, but it was too late. Heineken had already done that. So we are going to actually wrap the DART train that goes to Fair Park at the State Fair of Texas, that one that does that whole route. It'll be wrapped for 6 weeks, a 6-week period with Visit Big Bend. Come to the Big Bend, all like our new Suburban. It'll be wrapped just like that. But it is the one that arrives right there at Fair Park to coincide with our time at the State Fair. So starting September 28th, I believe it is, until October 31st, roughly that range. That train, as the State Fair is going on, will be arriving. We'll tag it with a QR code as well as in text what booth we're in the Go Texan building, so we can get more people to come to us for sure. But at the end of the day, it's just a moving billboard for all those folks at the State Fair. So that's the Vector thing.
All right, and then the Viva Big Bend's pretty self-explanatory. How about Birdwatchers Digest? It's an ad, I take it in the
Yes.
Birdwatcher, okay.
Correct.
And then what's Airstream Life? I assume this is Airstream wanting us to put stuff in there.
Yeah, actually, it's a magazine. It coincides with with the Bird Digest. Yeah, it's a magazine for RV folks. We haven't done that before, but the marketing committee last year suggested, we don't get anything off of RVs. We don't get that tax. There's no hotel tax or anything when an RV stays. But they're a very important part of the tax base here for sure. And we've seen, we have no hard data or whatever. We see folks staying at, say, the Maverick RV Park at Lajitas. But then, they're like, this is nice. Let's get a night in the hotel, so they'll come in an RV, but they'll go either experience our restaurants, our outfitters, or spend a night in the hotel after they've been cramped in the RV for a while. So we decided to reach out. So this is our first time to do anything for the RV community. It's just an ad. Yeah.
All right, I think we can roll all 4 of those in one motion. So move.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion about contracts? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ruben, do you know if there's any billboards coming westbound into Marathon? Out on the east?
Yes, sir. It's, there's one for the motel and one for the Gage Hotel. And there's a small one, the last one, I don't know what it's on McKnight's land.
Okay.
All 3 of them are.
Well, and we can talk about this outside the court, but I personally think that we're the gateway to Big Bend. I think coming into Marathon and coming into Alpine, there ought to be a wonderful billboard paid for by our tourism money that says, welcome to the Big Bend, or I don't know what it says.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that you've entered into the Mecca of outdoor world. It ought to be in Marathon and I'll be here. And in fact, I'd like to see the city put some banners or work with the city to hang some banners across the streets. Maybe that's TxDOT that says home of the Big Bend
We're not milking this. We got 600,000 people coming to this county and we need to hit them hard.
Yesterday alone, there were at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there were 763 or 4 people had come in the parks on the west entrance.
Is that right?
284 on the north side.
There we go. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, spring break's definitely in full.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to ride in the sheriff's vehicle as he drove 105 around 6 RVs moving about 30 miles an hour. He goes, they're driving too slow. Watch this. Church. Don't print that.
Then,
Yeah.
on the billboard there, if,
I think we
shouldn't promote, I mean, I know we're promoting the park, but make special presents to 1 or 2 other stuff like, Ernest and Aha or,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think.
Get people's mind off the basin and
Yeah.
come see this one,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
And then once they're there, well, they're already there, you know, I mean,
Exactly.
that's my opinion.
Oh, yes, we've already started that.
Okay.
We're, anyone that we bring down and any video that we shoot is no longer focused on the basin. Yeah, they're everything else in the park. They've already gone through and did 1 round of shooting, some video, but it's in post-production. They're making the changes in commercials.
Mexican mines are nice.
Yeah, that would be great.
There's so much to see.
Yeah. Any suggestions like that, shoot me an email. We're happy to film them. We have several different videographers coming through here via the state and us bringing them in to do exactly that. But we're happy to.
Are you part of that movie that they're shooting down there at Spring Creek now?
No, that's the film committee, and it's yeah, that's Bill. It's all Bill.
They wanted everything free.
Yeah, that's all. Bill handles all the film stuff. Basically, I'm just the lead. I just pass the message on. Yeah. As far as billboards go, we had thought about doing that before. The majority out here are managed by Clear Channel, and we definitely could. It was about, God, what are we, 6 years ago, the marketing committee was all 100%, $100,000 to billboards. None were available. They were in multi-year contracts. I haven't really looked out again, but I'm happy to check that out because I agree. A big billboard right there. And with all this driving that I have been doing the last couple of weeks, I saw several open ones, but they were on 10, a little, you know.
I think they're permanent billboards that basically say you've arrived in the Big Bend country. And
You know, back 25 years ago, that there was one in Marathon that said it was Del Fisher Big Wave to Big Bend National Park.
On someone's private land that allowed that to be built there, we would be happy to do that. I mean, we have the funds to do it. Honestly, to be just totally transparent, I don't know where to start with landowners, but we could actually build one rather than rent a Clear Channel.
Happy to let us put a billboard on and pay them a monthly rent.
Sure.
Especially with no rain.
With no rain, yeah.
You gave me somewhere to head start on that. I'm happy to work on
I'll
that.
get your name and the number.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Robert.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, James, real quick, back to emergency and we're done. The only thing that's holding us up from lunch.
Yeah, okay, because, this is just an example of this time last year.
Okay.
Of our drought.
Okay.
This is on the 6th.
Yeah.
We are super duper dry. I don't think anybody realizes in the community, in the city, in the county, how dry we really are. We are super duper dry. And I'm getting all these calls for, they want a burn permit. I can't let them have a burn permit with how dry we are. And I know the city has their own ordinances as far as the permitting goes for burns. And I'm with the city, no burns, just because the way things are. It's ridiculous how dry it is.
I've seen people welding all over the country.
They were welding down on 67. They're using K12s and open rotary saws and cutting rebarb and shooting sparks everywhere. I called TxDOT and had them shut it down right away. I mean, and that was when
They're on 385 yesterday too.
it's, I mean, I can't be the bird in the sky constantly, but I mean, as soon as I get a report, then I'll definitely report it to TxDOT. But people don't realize that this is, we're so dry. I mean, even working USDA, I haven't seen it this dry. So this is amazing.
Maybe a public announcement saying, tell them that people that are gonna weld and cut and stuff need to be aware or let you guys know or something, I mean. That they're gonna be responsible for, you know, public service, and I'm saying they're gonna be responsible if they start a fire.
Yeah, we need to really start enforcing it, and because we had a fire that somebody decided to do a fire in their backyard last week, and it was not good. I couldn't enforce the city laws, but law enforcement for APD didn't want to give a ticket for the situation. And I was like, you know, it's your city, you know, you make your decisions, but I would strongly encourage that we start enforcing hard.
This was a family cooking marshmallows, but they had a 12-foot fire.
Yeah.
I think somehow the bigger the fire, the fatter the mushrooms.
The hotter the marshmallow.
Well, we still have the exemption for like little campfires, ground fires.
They can't be any larger than 3 to 4 feet. And this guy, I mean, you could see it from Dollar General, so it was. And their yard was full of old tri-wood too, so that wasn't even. It wasn't.
Not well thought out.
Not reassuring, yeah. And then we got winds coming up. I mean, the winds are whipping
Got
up.
more winds today, don't we, or tomorrow?
Some today, Thursday and Friday are supposed to get up to about 55 to 60 miles an hour winds, so we need to watch out for that. I'm gonna send out another hyper reach if no, and this is to anybody that wants to be attached to hyper reach to get the text message. Contact me, I'll add you to the system. I'm pretty sure I have all the commissioners on there. I sent a hyper reach.
I thought HyperReach automatically pulled it into the system.
Mine's not working anymore, Jake.
Okay.
I'm not
My
getting
husband
any.
got one, but I didn't get one.
You have to subscribe to that and get it?
No, I just have to type your name into the alert roster. Your name and phone number.
No, but I mean, I thought they just pulled from cell phone data.
I thought so too. I did two. I did one where it was just a broad reach where you can take the circle and expand it. And it was the same reach that it was with me just highlighting everybody.
Have we ever done Facebook ads?
No,
That's not a good idea.
I like begrudgingly ask for people to send me their names because I know as soon as they send me their names, I'm gonna get hundreds of emails that everybody wanted to be added to this. But I mean, if people want to know it, at least update their information because I have 2,155 people on there now. And I think numbers have changed because only, I think, 1,500 people got a message. So about to.
I used to, but I don't have it anymore.
Didn't the system used to notify any cell phone regardless
That's what
if they
I was
were in this area?
That's what I thought too, but apparently not.
It used to. I don't know what changed.
Let's check on that, James, because that was what I was led to believe about HyperReach is it had the cell phone database, and if you were having a cell phone in the area, you were gonna get a note. That's, you know, the thing about the child molestation or the child
Amber Alert.
abduction, Amber Alerts, those are coming out of the state. I think they're hitting all the cell phones.
Yeah.
All across the state.
I don't know if just because we're a small county that we don't have that kind of reach.
It used to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to
Check
work
on
that way because people were saying, I'm getting all these notifications. Say, yeah, you're here. You get notified.
Yeah, I'll call HyperReach and see.
Yeah, let's find out about that.
And
I moved that, Jerry.
Is James done?
And then I'm going to,
Sorry, but you're right on top of it.
yeah, I'm gonna actually go down. Martin from KVLF is actually giving me a weekly spot to go on there and talk about stuff. And I think I'm gonna hit this.
I think we kind of want them, you know, make them aware that if they don't have the proper documentation and they start a fire, they're responsible for whatever.
Yeah.
There are certain things for prescribed burn, but even TFS and the burn bosses are like, no. So I'm on board with them.
Okay.
So that's all I got.
Thank you. I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Just second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Court's now adjourned. How long do we go? Wait.
Long.